You're now tuned live.
Kickback with Key on 90.3 WMSC.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I hope this voice sounds familiar because this is Keyshawn Reese on the mic, the key ingredient, the key to the city, and the key to Montclair State Radio. And when I tell you today is going to be one of those Kickback with Key legendary shows, it most definitely will be. And I don't even know if I should tell you guys what is about to go down here, but what I will say for now is stay tuned because you got a lot coming your way. I got 3 people here sitting with me virtually that are ready to get into some things. This is Kickback with Key. Stay tuned on Montclair State 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Let's get it going. And we are back. This is Kickback with Key on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. And if you are just joining us, you are right in time because like I said before, I have been hinting for a little while now that I will only be having really good content for the future. And the future is today because not only do I have one, but I have 2 guests sitting virtually with me. And we'll get into them a little bit like that. But without further ado, sitting with me today, I have Brockett Parsons along with Chris Cummings, also known as Currentz. So thank you guys. I'll give you guys a little round of applause. Come here a little bit. Thank you guys for coming to the show today. I enjoy having you guys here. We're going to get to talk about a lot of different things with music. But first of all, how are you guys feeling today?
Feeling great. Absolutely great. You know, happy to be alive.
Yeah, man. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. So, Brockett, you're actually in LA, correct, right?
Yeah.
How's the weather over there? Because I know over here is a little bipolar. One day it's rainy, one day it's warm in Jersey.
Today is like almost like a beach day today. It's like it's
Really?
gonna be like 85.
85 degrees.
Yeah. Weather's awesome. Weather's awesome out here, man.
That is exciting. And actually joining us, who I didn't mention, who actually just joined the call just now, sitting virtually with me as well, Kevin. So I wanted to start with asking all of you guys, actually, when did you guys officially kind of start with music? And
Yeah, sure. I mean, so it was, I've been making music with Kevin for like maybe 4 years now. I'd probably say, hey, what's good, Kevin? I'd probably say we've been making music for about 4 years now. So, you know, we started making music in high school together. Like I was already making music for fun, but I was already drumming a lot and I was just figuring out how to record my own music. Didn't really have any much of a platform to really release it on, but definitely record it. I was using GarageBand and uploading it to like SoundCloud and stuff. And Kev was kind of doing the same thing. I was mainly doing rap stuff at first where I was just putting my vocals on top of YouTube tracks, you know, that were free and stuff to really get my rap chops up. But then I started really diving into composing and arranging and also just recording all the different like sounds with keyboards and stuff. And I used to invite Kevin over to my house a lot and we would just mess around and record just for fun and write some cool bars and maybe a hook or two and a cool track. And we never really officially released anything. So, you know, I started going to Berklee College of Music after senior year and he was going over to UCC and, you know, we were all just figuring it out. And we kind of just came back together when during quarantine, I had already tried to start a hip hop collective before and things didn't necessarily really work out. And I was kind of back into like my whole entire solo artist approach. But to be honest with you, I don't really like being so much of a solo artist. I like being a part of something that's bigger than myself. So with that, I wanted to find a really good creative partner and really just have a duo, just one other person that was on the same page as I was with this whole entire music thing. So I knew Kevin was the right choice for that. And I was like, dude, you want to start a hip hop duo? And he was like, I'm down, bet. And, you know, the name ASTRNOMKL as it is, when it comes to that, I just wanted to use one word that kind of like defined what our music was in the context of like anything, like astronomical. Like we're not from this planet. We're astronomical. Like we're taking off. We're going somewhere different. You know, we're not trying to do the same thing that everybody else is doing. We're trying to have our own unique sound and our own unique approach to our artistry. And because that's really what makes you separate yourself from the rest. There's just so many artists out here playing music and making music and releasing it, you know. So
Well, at first, like me and my friends, we were walking home, we would just like play like beats off of YouTube and just like freestyle on them. Like that was just like our thing. We would always like hang out and freestyle. And I just realized like all my friends would tell me that I was like really good at it, like really good at freestyling, like off the dome, just like coming up with funny things, like cool things to say. So I just got like really obsessed with like being able to like take my freestyles and record it and like make a song. So I got into like producing and like getting a mic, getting an interface, getting FL Studio. And that's how like I became like a rapper, I would say. It's just because like I was freestyling, all my friends said I was good. So I just took that skill and I put it to my music.
Right. And lastly, moving on to you, Brockett, when was kind of like your first little dibbling and dabbling with music?
Well, I grew up playing trumpet and piano all the way through school. So I would say that, you know, my background has really been about, you know, playing initially. I went to Berkeley also back in the day. And so, you know, and I've been playing professionally ever since. So you're dealing with two different generations right here. I hate to admit my age, but you know, I'm like the age, and in fact went to school with both Chris and Kevin's moms, and so I kind of like view these guys as family because we're all from Summit.
Right. But let's talk about Mesmerize. So like I told you guys before, prior to actually recording this, that this song is dope. And I listened to this song very, very closely throughout the day, not just today, but a few times prior to this as well. And I just realized a lot of different things within the actual song itself, like the little music, different chimes, like a lot of the vocal tuning was like really, really cool, along with the lyrics, then the different key changes and stuff like that. So Mesmerize featuring you, Brockett, how did that kind of come about?
Well, a lot of times I send a lot of demos just of like my productions and stuff to Brockett just to see what he thinks about it, you know, because he's got experience and he's an incredible musician, incredible ear, and I trust his opinion on certain things. And I also know I trust his brutal opinion if he tells me you could do something better, or, oh, this track is dope. And, you know, I had been working on the demo and the production of Mesmerize for maybe about a month before I sent it over to Brockett to check out. And instead of me being like, yo, Brockett, you think you could lay something down on this? He was like, dude, this track is dope. I want to put something down on this. So that's kind of how it happened as far as like introducing him into that mix. And originally this song wasn't even supposed to be an astronomical song. It was actually supposed to be a solo song of mine that I wanted to use for the future stuff that I was working on with Kevin as a feature. But then I was like, nah, man, this has to be the next astronomical track. Just by the production alone, I was just really taken away by what I had done for it. And I wanted to share with the rest of the group. And, you know,
you produce this by yourself?
Yeah, the entire production is pretty much all me.
That kind of 3 minute and 30-second mark, is that where you kind of officially come in, Brockett, with the piano?
Yeah, it's during, I guess it's during the breakdown.
Yeah.
And just take a solo and kind of stretch out, you know, towards the end of the tune.
Right.
And yeah, Chris is, you know, heard the track. I was like, this got a really nice groove to it, and I thought it'd be fun to jam over it. So it just happened super organically. I think, you know, he put a really, really good groove down, and I was feeling it. And so that's what music is great in that way. It's supposed to be fun, you know. It's always supposed to be fun.
Right. And speaking of that kind of groove, I kind of noticed that with the song specifically, it gives me like a kind of soulful, but like a kind of like a funk feel, like a little bit of like a disco in it a little bit. And is that something that you guys were going for collectively, or did it just kind of happen to be like that? Because it just seems like it's just like a whole different kind of genre, kind of essentially. Like I feel like you guys kind of like place yourself in like a different category with this song specifically, kind of because it just touches a whole bunch of different elements of music and different genres of music as a whole. And I just kind of wanted to know for myself personally, like, was that something that you were meaning to do, or it just kind of happened out of the blue?
I'd say as far as the production aspect of things, like I was really listening to a lot of Daft Punk and like Earth, Wind and Fire and Jamiroquai, which are all very soulful in their own ways. I mean, Daft Punk's really good at taking soul samples from like the 70s and kind of just putting it into that house dance feel and that boomts, boomts, boomts kind of feel, which this track kind of just bumps through the whole time, which I really was looking for. That like there was this consistent pump through the whole entire thing, taking you from start to finish, you know, except for that breakdown in the middle of it. And so I would say, you know, those are some of my favorite groups of all time, like Earth, Wind and Fire and, you know, Daft Punk and Outkast and stuff. And all of that is all funk and soul. So like those are kind of like my roots as far as the music that I love to listen to. So I kind of just translated that onto the production for this song.
Right.
Yeah, I just think also like me and Chris, we just have like such diverse like sounds to our voices and the way that we rap. So I think naturally when we get on a track, like that already makes like it's so unique in itself, because me and him, like we have two separate sounds. So you can't really put a sound to us combining on a track because we're just so different vocally.
Right.
Definitely an intention.
And I noticed that, like you're saying, you guys are so different. Chris, you kind of came in with you were rapping towards like the beginning of it, and then Kevin, you kind of came in towards like, well, you were Kevin, you had the like the kind of like the chorus kind of going on, right?
Yeah, it was like a little bit like the mesmerized. I just kept like repeating the title over and over again.
Yeah. And then I heard you come in with like a few bars like towards like the middle, towards the end of the song that I was really vibing with.
Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to you for that. But again, collectively, I think that you guys touch a whole bunch of different kind of like genres and different kind of like fields of music and kind of put it into one song. And I feel like a lot of people nowadays don't do that.
That's kind of like the goal, like with our music and our sonic intention is like, we have so many different like sonic influences and inspirations. And why not just like put all those into like our own, you know, conglomerate tracks, but also showcase our own individual sounds with the vocals so that, you know, it's still us, but it's also like, you can't really put Astronomical in a certain box. You know, I feel like with this track, especially like I love how you mentioned that there's all these different types of genres embedded in this track. So it's hard to kind of generalize what the track would be like in a store or something, you know what I mean? So that was definitely an intention, and I appreciate you know, checking that out and spotting that.
No, definitely. And it's kind of like you guys are like finding your own like niche or like your little like spot within the industry, and kind of going to you, Brockett, because I'm sure you have a lot of experience with that. How important is it as a musician to kind of find your own spot, your own rhythm, your own feel for music within like a huge music industry?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, I think it's a matter of just putting the work in and just creating music that you enjoy creating yourself. And if you like it yourself and feel passionate about it, then you have a chance of other people actually feeling your passion. Right. So it's really about just creating as much as possible with really good intensity. And I kind of liked how the chords moved on this tune. And it sort of reminded me, you know, when I really got into R&B and hip hop, I listened to a lot of Teddy Riley. That was probably, you know, I grew up playing jazz and some classical music and listening to rock. And I got into hip hop, and one of the biggest influences, I think, was Teddy Riley. And I remember how some of his chord movements on some of those great classic hits, what Chris did kind of reminded me of that. And it sounded, you know, familiar to me in a real comforting way. I was like, this is cool for some young guys to be, you know, doing stuff like this with some harmony in it and blending it with hip hop and EDM. And I thought it was really cool. And it's, you know, creating your own voice. There's no secret formula to doing it. You just gotta
just do it.
Just, you know, just create as much as possible. And I think these guys are definitely on the way there, man.
I think so too. And it's kind of like you guys are staying true to like your own kind of lane. And my next question kind of is based off of kind of staying true to yourself, because I know within the music industry, it's probably very hard to kind of lose track of yourself in a sense, if that makes sense. So another question for you, Brockett, is how important is it to kind of stay true to your own lane?
Well, you know, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I just saw, you know, something online that the jazz drummer Jason Marsalis said. And, you know, I was a big fan of Wynton Marsalis and Branford Marsalis. And I think he said something that resonated with me, which is that I think if you're true to your own personality, you're going to kind of naturally do your own thing. And I think it is really, really cool to study, you know, things that you really, really like. I think when people focus too much on just trying to do their own thing without actually putting the time in of studying their crafts, I think you're limiting yourself. I think it's good just to sort of absorb everything, and what you're going to produce or make, just because you're an individual person, is going to be different than everybody else if you just allow yourself to be free, sort of.
All right, we're going to take a quick music break, jump into some tunes, and we'll be right back. This is Kickback with Key, guys. Stay tuned. And we are back. This is Kickback with Key on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. And still sitting remotely with us, I have ASTRNOMKL, which is Currentz and SADKD, along with Brockett Parsons. Chris and Kevin, or I guess I can say Currentz and SADKD, you guys are actually dropping a new single, right?
Well, actually, that was the last single for the upcoming EP that we're coming out with in April. So we got the whole EP coming out. You know, I've been wanting to say this for a while, but it's going to be on April 14th. It's going to be the release date for the album. Yeah, it's basically going to be the self-titled EP, so a debut EP from us. And it's going to feature all the songs that we've put out so far, plus a couple others that really fit everything into context, you know.
Are you guys able to kind of let us know maybe like a little hint of like,
I would definitely say that
are we expecting maybe?
So, you know, I would probably tell you that the only thing I could probably tell you is that a lot of the focus of the tracks that haven't been put out yet is really all about everything stylistically speaking, meaning like how everything fits into this body of work, because I'm a fan of albums. Like, I know there's some people who, and there's especially people who listen to music and listeners and consumers of music that like singles more and like just regular tracks just coming out here and there. But I'm a lover of albums. I love the whole concept behind albums. I love to study albums. I love to study why an album sounds the way it sounds, who is on the album, who makes the album sparkle in certain places, and what's the general message or the general vibe that I'm supposed to be getting when I'm listening to it. Like an album like Currentz by Tame Impala, no pun intended, or Tip of a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. There is like an array of like understanding and conceptual, you know, nature behind that. And so I kind of wanted to translate and reflect those kinds of, you know, albums into the certain things that we embed that you haven't heard yet in this album. I will say this though, there is another track on the album that features this man right here, Brockett Parsons. So, you know, it features him in actually an even cooler way than Mesmerized does, in my opinion.
So it is a EP, right, called ASTRNOMKL, you said? Yep. You guys heard it here first. It's an EP dropping called ASTRNOMKL on, what is the date again?
April 14th.
April 14th. I'm actually very excited to listen to that. So I kind of have a few questions regarding like advice that you guys could give to other people who are at least like trying to start become musicians, or kind of like start their name for themselves and things of that nature. And Kevin and Chris, you guys both kind of just started, I guess you can say, right? Or
we've been a group for about a year, and that's why I kind of chose April 14th to be the date, because it's literally a year from, or a year from the date when we came up with ASTRNOMKL. We came up with ASTRNOMKL on April 14th, 2020.
What do you think you can say to someone right now who is trying to kind of make their mark, or trying to like kind of step foot or kind of do those first steps in order to not necessarily just form a group, but kind of make music?
I would say just like have confidence in like your ability and your skill, you know what I mean? Because like everyone's unique in their own way through music. And if you're kind of like shy or like you're scared that someone's not going to like what you're making, you know what I mean? You're never going to get anyone to listen. You know what I mean? The reason that people blow up usually is because it's something that people haven't heard before. So just be confident in like who you are and what you're making. And I think people will love it no matter what.
Right. Be
And
confident.
I think Brockett said it best just not that long ago. You know, if you perfect your craft as an artist, as a producer, as an engineer, whatever it is that you're doing in music, you will be successful. It takes time. And, you know, I can't really speak much either because I've only found like this newfound success with what we're doing together and like this sound that we're creating together. And we're still nowhere near where we want to be. We still haven't reached that pedestal where we want to be, of course. And it takes a long time to really get that. But if we had the same energy, the same focus, the same drive that we have put in for this past year of all this work, I, you know, wouldn't be surprised if we do eventually, hopefully see some success in the future, you know, with sales or streams. And that's not even success. It's all about making an impact musically and sonically on somebody else that wants to make music like you.
Right.
So that's the goal.
And all of you guys being artists collectively, do you think that there's a lot of pressure that comes with it? And if so, how do you handle that pressure? How do you handle those nerves or?
Well, I mean, I've been playing live music as a drummer and as a performer since I was about 7 years old. So I have a little bit of experience under my belt on how to kind of cope with maybe that nervousness that you might get or that pressure. But it's really all down to your delivery and your execution of what you're trying to put out there, in my opinion. So for me, I like that the fact that we're still an independent artist and we don't necessarily have anybody trying to tell us where we need to take ourselves artistically in a direction. So we kind of just have free reign on where we want to go. That's what makes Mesmerize what it is. Like, to be honest with you, I feel like if we had a label or a distribution label, you know, running how we move with our methods and how we move with our songs, they probably would be like, this is a really cool track, but you guys got to stay here or stay there. I like that we just have this freedom to just do whatever we want.
And Brockett, do you think it's kind of hard, not necessarily hard to work with the pressure, but when the spotlight is on you, do you think it's kind of difficult maybe to kind of not necessarily please other people, but kind of work to their expectations?
Well, I mean, first of all, I would say, for me personally, I think I've been fortunate. And I think these guys are kind of the same way in that I just love performing and making music. So in many aspects of it, it's just, I would be doing it anyway, even if I wasn't doing it for a living. I just like doing it. So it's not as much pressure when you just enjoy it. I don't know. I heard something through the grapevine that a philosophy that the piano player Herbie Hancock had when he came to making an album. And I think he kind of broke down his music into three different categories. One, if there's an investor or a label or something behind him, he needs to be accountable to them, so he'll make some music for them. Two, he'll make some music of what he thinks his fans will like. That will be the second element. And then the third, he just does whatever he wants. And I think it's important to maybe kind of do everything. Be aware of what's out there. Be aware of what the trends are. Be smart and have some good focus, but also have time for yourself and be able to create whatever you want. And being able to create whatever you want is the most important thing, I think. And I think these guys, they're making what they want to make. And I think that's a really good lesson. They're doing it. They're in the process of actually doing, what's, I think, good for today's constantly changing music business. It's being disrupted constantly. So you just got to make some good music and then figure it out.
Right. And I think when you said the constantly disrupted music industry, I think there are a lot of people now who want to join the music industry, kind of like more of like the adolescents or the younger people, kind of want to jump into it and just all of a sudden they want to rap, or they want to like try to mix the singing with the rap. And I think with the whole idea of trends, you guys are kind of setting your own trend. And like I said previously, kind of making your own mark. And that's what I think is so interesting. That's why I definitely wanted you guys to be here today, is because I wanted other people to be able to listen to this new trend. Because like you said, Brockett, I can see them kind of just taking off and making some really, really great music that literally everyone around the world will eventually listen to. which I think is also really, really great. And I commend all you guys definitely for that. We're going to take a quick break, then we'll be right back. This is Kickback with Key. And we are back again. This is Kickback with Key on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Thank you guys who have been listening so far. And we still have more of an interview left to go. So let's get it going. But as we wrap up here, I definitely want to thank you guys for joining me here on Kickback with Key. But I want to know, from the standpoint, I guess, of ASTRNOMKL, what can we kind of expect other than the EP that is dropping? What can we kind of expect from you guys?
You want to tell them, Kev?
We got like a whole bunch of stuff cooking up right now. The EP is definitely like the main project that we're working on, but after that, there's going to be more and more music that's coming out. We're just like reaching new levels of, me and Chris ourselves are just reaching new levels of production skills that, you know, we've never even been able to reach before. So after this EP, there's going to be tracks on tracks that are coming out. So just be prepared, because me and Chris aren't stopping.
Yeah, I would say like, you know, this EP, even though we had, you know, the incredible feature of Mr. Brockett Parsons here, and also a dear friend of mine and Kevin's as well, Teddy Cole, who plays guitar on Planetary Eyes, killed it. You know, we kind of kept most of the creative work to ourselves, you know, as one usually does when it's their own album. But the next album, I will definitely say that there's a lot more collaborative nature behind not just the recording of it, but also the production of it as well. Like mainly the productions will be mostly Kevin and I as ASTRNOMKL, which is what we're also trying to focus on more as we go into it, instead of it just being produced by me or produced by him and sprinkle a little bit of things here and sprinkle a little bit of things there. You know, it's going to be produced by ASTRNOMKL. It's going to be both of us in this studio or whatever, cooking up the beats and just really diving into making the songs in that time. Because a lot of the times, because of what's happened with COVID, you know, we've had to really just send each other stuff virtually. There was a brief moment in the summertime we were really comfortable with being able to stay in the studio for a little bit and work on things together for this album, but it kind of just like fell short a little bit when things started to get back up, you know, with cases and everything. So we wanted to be a little bit more careful. But definitely a lot more tracks, you know, and a lot more other faces that they're not necessarily in ASTRNOMKL. It's me and Kevin, but they're part of the family. And I've always been a very collaborative person in that way and not selfish to what I do. So, you know, I want to make sure there's a little bit of ASTRNOMKL in everybody's stuff, and there's a little bit of everybody else's stuff in ASTRNOMKL.
Definitely. And for you, Brockett, can we expect some things in the future?
Well, as I said, as Chris mentioned, I'm playing on another track that I think is pretty cool. Chris had a great concept for it, and I just kind of went with it on this particular project. I'm also, you know, constantly working on my own thing as well, and collaborating with a lot of different people. What I like, what Chris and Kevin are doing is that I just want to elaborate on what they basically said, which is it sounds like they're kind of trying to develop a scene essentially. And, you know, if you take examples of some really successful people in the music industry, I mean, let's use like the Wu-Tang Clan example, you know, like there's so many guys involved with that. They all work collectively, but they're all strong individually as well. So they're really just powerful, you know, mode of success. Or going back in the day in Minneapolis when you had Prince and The Time and Jimmy Jam and all these people working together kind of broke through at the same time. Same thing with rock in Seattle when it came to the grunge movement in the early 90s.
Right. Nirvana, yeah.
You know, or go-go music in DC, you know, even before that. People can kind of break through by themselves, but often more than not, it's not a complete vacuum. And so I like the fact that Chris and Kevin are trying to include other people that maybe are kind of close by and trying to just get a lot of energy from a bunch of talented people, all kind of focused and trying to really create something strong and different.
Right. And what I love here and what I kind of noticed throughout the interview, there's a genuine love and passion for the craft and like for music, like throughout all of you guys. And I feel like sometimes with certain artists and a lot of artists now, not to compare, but I feel like sometimes you don't always get to see that. You don't always get to see the actual love for the music. And I feel like here there's a genuine love for what you guys actually do. And I just think it's great. But yeah, so any last minute things you want to tell the audience here on Kickback with Key before we kind of peace out and actually listen to Mesmerize?
I would just say, to go back on what you're talking about with people that want to do music, just do it. Just do it. Because, I was playing music as a drummer for many years, but one day I was just like, you know what? I'm going to start making my own music because I want to. And I just started producing. And then I'm about 6,000 hours out of the 10,000 hours it takes to, become expertise, an expert at what you do, to production and just like perfecting my craft. And I feel like hopefully once those 10,000 hours come up, I'll be at the top of my game, and ASTRNOMKL will be at the top of its game when we get more hours and put more hours into our stuff. And you can just expect a lot more tracks, and not just tracks that are released, but tracks that are also kept in the vault, ready for the next album that comes out after that. You know what I mean? Right. Just constantly making stuff, but nitpicking things to make sure we choose quality over quantity, because a lot, like you're saying, in the music industry, some people don't really pay a close attention to that kind of detail of the quality behind everything and the passion and the love. We want to make sure that we're putting in a hard work and effort into it, but also that we put that passion in there as well, and we can show that, and it can translate to our fans, and our fans can like that as well.
I just want to say I appreciate you having us on the show, doing this interview, and I love your whole setup, Key, and just to see you get this show and reach to the point you are now, it's just I'm just impressed, and I just shouts out to you, bro, for doing your thing.
Literally, it's very impressive.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys for kind of taking the time.
Doing your thing, man, for sure.
Thank you guys for taking the time to actually kick back with me today. And the EP is dropping soon. For you guys all out there listening to the interview today, you guys are in for a treat. I'm telling you, you guys are definitely in for a treat. But again, thank you guys. Shout out Brockett, shout out Kevin and Chris, ASTRNOMKL. And we will be right back on Kickback with Key on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Stay tuned, guys. Thank you guys for coming, and hopefully I will see you guys very soon.
Thank you so much for having us, Keyshawn. We really appreciate it. And hopefully, after the EP drops or whatever, we can do another one,
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, Keyshawn.
Everybody, come on. Yeah. I said, everybody, come on. Don't be afraid. Just let it loose. Come on, here we go. Everybody come and lose your mind. We've got to feel the groove and make it alright. Ain't nobody gonna kill the vibe, cause we're just gliding on the floor tonight, baby. Traveling through space, spending all this time to bring the funk right to your place of alright. I just go crazy looking in your eyes. They cast enchanted spells, I'm mesmerized. Looking in your eyes, got me mesmerized. I'm feeling so damn fine, cruising down the line, taking my time with a supersonic flow. I gotta fly to Atlanta, then to Tokyo, to bring the funk comps down to your local town. We in the spot right now, they're gonna break it down. Got me feeling like a celebrity, guaranteed to delivery, filling up with serenity. Ain't nobody compared to me. See, this the type of shit that'll make it throw a fit on the dance floor. Show me that you want more, cause I can bring the funky heat all night. We don't even have to sting inside the club, that's right. We can take it to the crib, maybe dance a little bit. Got me feeling kinda lit, can I get another hit? Cause I must admit, I might have to take a trip in the spaceship, exploring the deeper side of the matrix. Everybody come and lose your mind. We've got to feel the groove and make it alright. Ain't nobody gonna kill the vibe, cause we're just gliding on the floor tonight, baby. Traveling through space, spending all this time to bring the funk right to your place of alright. I just go crazy looking in your eyes. They cast enchanted spells, I'm mesmerized. Mesmerized, mesmerized, mesmerized in your eyes. Mesmerized, mesmerized. I feel high in your eyes. You can see me in some CDG. All I be hitting some THC. I remember you like TBT. Let's reminisce in my bedroom, please. Drown legend, girl, you can can get all of me. All of these rappers be calling me money, just follow me. You must be dumber than Pauly D if you think that you better than Currentz. Well, let me just tell you that I get a business. I might make some bread, but I'm working her linen. And I got a shot of y'all, don't get big hit. And you low me in life, getting checks like I'm quicking. And this shit, daddy, I'm hitting and dipping. I'm working that Boston's the way I be tripping. The trigger start clicking when you snitching. The woody be ripping, the buzzy be hitting time.
I love your moves, the way you groove. Baby, I'm mesmerized by you. Come to my room, let's set the mood. Baby, I'm mesmerized by you.
You've got me stuck, I'm paralyzed, out of control and hypnotized. Oh baby, so psychedelic with your eyes. Far out of space, I'm mesmerized by the way you move your body like this. Make it funky now. To your place of alright, I just go crazy looking into your eyes. They cast enchanted spells, I'm mesmerized.